pets. All right, so you'll hear that, and then let me go ahead and share my screen so you can see it. I'm going to have to fix that. I can't share it just right this second here. All right, and then if anyone had any questions from yesterday, go right ahead and put them in the chat too. That's not a problem at all. It would be great if you had any questions from yesterday. And don't worry if you weren't able to be in the entire session. The replay was sent out and I will send it out again. And then also too, you will get a page. You'll get access to a page soon that will have all the replays on it as well, like all the key links all in one place. I'd like to have that. So that way you'll be able to access that easily. And I'm so glad I'm able to share my screen now. This is a good thing. So it's the simple things, right? All right, let's go ahead. Let's get moving here. And I'll just keep on watching to admit people. So I'd like to also open the floor up to you if anyone feels comfortable in sharing. And you don't have to share it on the Zoom call. You could also do it in the Facebook group. You don't have to do it during this session. But the reason I asked this is, and actually one of the participants emailed me yesterday after our call, after our session, asking, hey, Christine, it would be great for people to share, to share who they are and what they're working toward, what they would like to get out of this class. And I'm like, yes, that we have that in day 2. That's part of it. But by you sharing your experience, you're also helping others. That, I mean, we may feel uncomfortable or, not, and I want you to feel comfortable with that, but I want you to know when you share your experience, you're also helping other people. So I'm going to go ahead. If anyone is open to sharing who they are, that would be great. And what they'd like to get out of this class. If you don't feel comfortable now, that's fine too. You could also put it in the chat as well. Sorry, I keep on clicking back and forth. So, but would anyone like to share what they'd like to get out of this?
I can say something.
Thank you, Jonathan. That's
hello,
awesome.
everybody. I'm kind of in learning and I guess growth mode, for lack of a better term. So I'm just kind of taking everything in and trying to apply everything to what I'm looking to do as far as my job search, my career and such like that. Working in the tech industry, I've been in a layoff position almost in a 3 to 5 year cycle. And so this is unfortunately not the first time, and even more unfortunately, probably not the last. So I'm kind of just used to it. So every time I go through this, I'm learning more and progressing more, and everything gets a little, the duration of which tends to be shorter and shorter, which is always a positive. So I'm just kind of in learning mode at the moment.
Great. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for sharing that. That's very helpful. And then we're going to have some more opportunities for sharing as well tomorrow. But that's great. Thank you for doing that. And then you brought up something, and gone are the days of someone working at a company for 30, 40 years and retiring. Things are very cyclical now. And then as we evolve, and especially coming out of the pandemic, that's why it's so important to always be working on your development and how you are invaluable, because you're always changing and companies are always changing because they need to be flexible with evolving needs in the marketplaces. So thank you for sharing that. Would anyone else like to share in addition to Jonathan? That's okay. I'm not going to pressure anyone. So we're going to keep on moving. So thanks again, Jonathan. You get a gold star for sharing. So thank you so much for doing that. And then I have to go to my next screen here. Here we go. Okay. So this is just a quick little reminder with some housekeeping too. Make sure that if you haven't already, that you print your workbook, because it's just easier. You want to make sure you don't miss out on the resources that are in the workbook. And then I also have a quick day one recap. So this is the career goal card that is in your workbook. And I did, as I was telling you yesterday, I carry mine around with me and I have it on my desk. So I do have it. It's right here. And I've had different versions as I've reached new goals. So, but our goals are really important. And I want you to treasure your goal. And then I want you to shoot for a big, scary goal too. So again, just to recap, the big, scary goal is that thing that you've never done before. And I want you to shoot for that in your career, and to be as specific as you possibly can on that. Okay. And then it may be so big. Think about it like climbing Mount Rushmore. The summit is, or not Mount Rushmore, but some other big mountain, whatever. The summit is the big, scary goal. But then going up onto the summit, there's base camps. Okay. So there's most likely some smaller goals that will move you closer to that big, scary goal. Okay. So keep that in mind too. I don't want you to think that you have to achieve this big, scary goal all in one big leap. No, it's more of a process. It's a journey up the mountain. So keep that in mind too. And you could certainly write down that base camp goal on your career goal card along with your big, scary goal. You could do that as well. All right. And then what I'd like to do is, actually, I'm going to go back one screen. So there was something that my coach shared this morning with our group in our daily reflection. And I wanted to share it with you because I think it's a perfect way to summarize yesterday, what I was really trying to drive home to you. And it's from this great little book called U Squared by Price Pritchett. If anyone has heard of that book, let me know in the chat, because I didn't hear about it before working with my coach. But it is a little book, and it's super easy to read, and it's extremely powerful. And I do have it listed. So in that Dropbox link that I put in the chat, make sure you grab that link, all right, because that has this book, U Squared, listed on it, along with a lot of the other resources that I've mentioned already, or that that I will mention as we go through the masterclass. So anyway, this is U Squared. The title of the book is A High Velocity Formula for Multiplying Your Personal Effectiveness in Quantum Leaps. And again, the author is Price Pritchett. So let me just read this to you. It's very short, but it really says it all. And this is a chapter titled Open Your Gifts. If you look at those particular skills you have developed over the years, the talents that you have exhibited, you will find they are the gifts you opened and enjoyed. You have many gifts that you've never opened, these gifts of talent, ability, and reach that are yours for the taking. The people we call gifted are different from the crowd in one very special way. They accepted their gifts. They let it happen. The high achievers, the persons you admire, are those individuals who open their gifts. These winners have more gifts because they claimed them, took them out of the wrapping, and used them. Now it's time for you to do something with your gifts. Claim them and you create them. Reach for them and they materialize. Use them and they grow to serve you still better. If you look at those particular skills you have developed over the years, the talents that you have exhibited, you will find they are the gifts you opened and enjoyed. But how many others are there within your reach? For every gift you've opened over the years, there are hundreds that you've never unwrapped and taken out of the package. This unused potential hides there, just waiting to play a role in your quantum leap. When you make a quantum leap, you find out many new things about yourself. U Squared is a fascinating experience in self-discovery. A transformation occurs, a metamorphosis. Think of a striped caterpillar humbly crawling along the stem of a milkweed plant, a few inches from Mother Earth. changing into a strikingly beautiful monarch butterfly that soars high in the air and bravely journeys thousands of miles in its yearly pilgrimage to become a monarch, to free those shining auburn wings to fly high and free. The creature must break out of the cocoon of safety and open its gifts. Open some more of yours. Find your wings. So yeah, so that's from U Square. And thank you for listening to and for being in this masterclass. I'm excited. But remember, it's a great way to think of your skills and talents as gifts, actually gifts that are wrapped up. And just think about all those gifts that you haven't unwrapped yet. Let's keep on moving here. And I want to make sure again that I've let everyone in. Okay, I think we're good. All right, so this is day 2. And our focus for today is your career plan. What is a career plan anyway? Okay, think of your career plan as your roadmap to move forward in your career. And these are the key elements of it. This is how I design a career plan. You always need to manage your mindset. We all know that mindset, you hear that all the time. And we know, I think we really innately know that our mindset is so important. So managing your mindset, and it can be just 5 minutes a day or whatever, but paying attention to it too as you go about your day is really important. We touched upon the STAR stories yesterday. So, and the STAR stories worksheet is in your workbook. If you haven't done at least one STAR story worksheet, I need you to do one today and then you want to keep it simple, but take one of your strengths. And again, you might be like, well, Christine, I am not sure what my core strengths are. I think it's best to keep things simple and to know what like your 5 top strengths are. And if you need help with that, you can go to the Clifton Strengths Finder website and check that out and get that assessment. And that is one of the resources that's listed too in that resource document that I provided. Okay. So, because that's a key part of your brand, and you need to be as clear as you possibly can on your brand, how you're invaluable. It's really important. Because you're talking about it in your career, you're doing it. So yeah. Now, number 3 here is job search if needed. Now, right now, there's many people that are in job search mode. There's still a lot of people in job search mode, but I don't want to ever assume. I mean, sometimes I do make new contacts and they let me know, hey, Christine, I'm totally happy where I'm at. So, but then the question is, okay, that's great. That's wonderful. What's the next step for you? What are you working toward? How do you want to be better than yesterday? That's important too. I want everyone to be in a role where they're very happy, they're aligned, it meets their needs, but you also need to know where you're heading next because we need to keep on moving. We need to keep on growing. That's important. And then part of the job search is, and even again, if you're not doing a job search, it's still important to have a target company list. Where are the companies that you would like to work at? I mean, what companies are you interested in? It's kind of like when we invest in the stock market, you might have companies that are on your watch list. Why wouldn't you have companies on your watch list to work at and to know about those and like to be networking with people that work there? Maybe people that you used to work with work there now. So, but that's important too, to have information on different opportunities that are out there in the market and the companies that have those opportunities. Connection is the key. It's the heart. And it's not just the heart of job search, but it's also the heart of our work because it's when we're able to connect with others. And some great examples of that are the Chicago Bulls. I've lived here in the Chicago area all my life, and they won so many championships. And the core team that won those championships, they were really very different from each other. We had Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. We had Steve Kerr. We had Dennis Rodman. Talk about a character. He was quite the character. So, but really, BJ Armstrong. So just different, they had different skills, but they were able to come together, and by them coming together, they were able to be even more than they were individually. I mean, think of even Michael Jordan, someone, such an incredible athlete like Michael Jordan, by him being on a team with those other players, Michael Jordan was able to be part of something bigger than himself. So, and that's what connection is all about. And then the last part of this, which is very important, is receiving, all the great things you get from a career, and then in the job, in doing a job search, you want to be able to receive multiple offers. You want to be able to evaluate them and, have those options in your decision process. That would be ideal. So these are the components that I outline that should be in your career plan. So again, let me elaborate. So managing your mindset, it's following the direction of your inner critic or your inner mentor, not your inner critic. But at the same time, your inner critic is that part of you that is there to keep us safe. Okay. And I don't want you to bash your inner critic, but at the same time, I want you to be aware of your inner critic and, really listen to that voice. But really, your inner mentor is the main voice that you have to pay attention to. You don't want it to be drowned out by all the external stuff that is constantly coming at us. Our star stories, again, those are the heart of determining your unique, one-of-a-kind brand. That's really crucial. And then with your job search, so the actual job search, doing a job search and the plan for that, what's the key components of that are, your documents, your search documents, your resume and your LinkedIn profile and your cover letter template and the follow-up email templates. And we want to make sure that your brand, when we get the clarity on your brand, and this is often when I start off, when I talk with a new connection, I'll ask them those two questions of how do you rate your clarity on your own brand? And how do you rate your clarity on your next role, your target role that you're shooting for? And so in the reflection piece yesterday, we work on getting that clarity. But then once we have the clarity, we need to make sure that these documents are reflecting your brand as much as they possibly can. It's really important. And out of all of these, to me, the most important one is your LinkedIn profile. The reason why I say that is it is possible for someone to land a job without having to do their resume. It's not a hardcore requirement. And even without doing an interview, although you really can't land a role unless you have a conversation. You definitely need to have that conversation, but it may be less of an interview and, more of a conversation. So, and that was something that had happened to me. I was able to land a role basically from a conversation. So, so those are the key components. But the LinkedIn profile is so important because it's the thing that makes it so easy for people to connect with you and to have a conversation. And then target companies. So we're building this based on the reflection work that we've done. Like, what companies are of most interest to you? What kind of culture? Culture is probably the biggest thing that I hear regarding employers, what people are looking for. And it makes total sense. It was a big thing to me. With my experience as an HR leader, I have that insider knowledge to really help my clients vet opportunities too. Because being in human resources, we see things at organizations that many people may not see. So, so that's an advantage. And there's ways to find that stuff. There's way to get information because it's critical. You want to make sure you're doing all this work. If you are doing a job search, you want to make sure that you land at a great place. And like a year later, you're not really frustrated. You're not disappointed. All right. Connection. We are going to be diving into that more tomorrow. So that's going to be like for like the bulk of the day. I mean, not the bulk of the session. So, so yeah, we'll be focusing a lot more on that, but really we're applying to jobs when we're doing our job search, but you can't just send your resume off and apply. It's important to connect with someone there too, because otherwise the likelihood that your resume is going to go into a black hole, never to return, is pretty high. So following up on your applications is important. And for interviews, we want to do whatever we can to land that interview, to land that conversation where you can connect. And we also want to be prepared so we can really shine our brand and, really come through. Connection, it says here, connection always needs to be done regardless of job search status. Regardless if you are in an ideal role and you're blissfully happy, you're just like on cloud nine, you still need to be staying in touch with your connections daily. And I had someone, a new connection that I talked with yesterday, say that to me. They're like, Christine, I don't know how people do it. How I know we're supposed to do this on a regular basis, but how do I do this? And it's just with little habits. And actually, this is another book that I'll be sure I need to add this one to the resource list for you as well. And the name of the book is Atomic Habits by James Clear, I believe, is the author. If anyone has read that book, if you could put that in the chat, I'd be curious to see if you've heard that. But my key takeaway from that book is even something for 5 minutes or 2 minutes is powerful, a small little habit. Take brushing your teeth, for example. I mean, we only have to brush our teeth for 2 minutes twice a day. So with that 2 minutes is very powerful. Think about it. If you didn't brush your teeth, you'd be spending a lot of money with the dentist. So it is very powerful. So the same thing can be applied to staying connected to your network. I highly recommend the LinkedIn app for your cell phone. So use it. It's very easy to use. And you could even just put like 5 minutes in your schedule, and that's what I would recommend, because if you don't put it down in your calendar, the likelihood that it's going to happen is not so great. So maybe with your morning coffee or maybe at lunch, you just take 5 minutes and you're looking at your LinkedIn app. And all I'm asking you to do is to send a quick message to one of your existing connections. Say, hey, I was thinking about you. How are things? How's work going? And that's it. And then with a new connection, you can basically introduce yourself. And I know a lot of times in making those new connections, working with my clients, it can feel really awkward. It can be like, Christine, I don't know what to say. What do I do? Everybody feels awkward doing this. So number one, don't beat yourself up for feeling that way. It's totally okay. And then the second thing is that, remember, you can be a solution to an employer. That's the thing. That's the whole objective of you and your work is providing solutions and being of service to others. So think about when you feel insecure and you feel you've got that imposter syndrome that's striking, turn it around and focus on the person and how you can help them, right? Just stay focused on them and then just reach out, because you can't help them if they don't know that you're there. That's why making even one new connection. So if you could just start with making one new connection a day and then reaching out to one of your existing connections a day, that would be great. And then again, we're going to spend more time on this tomorrow on connection, because I've got some tools to help you with that. But yeah, it's so important. Receive. So receiving offers or receiving feedback. If you're in a role right now, you're in a great role, you're blissfully happy, as we were saying, you still want to receive feedback, and you want to, because it's always, it's so important to receive. So, and in a job offer, in a job search situation, when you do receive job offers or feedback, even on how you interviewed, you want to be able to evaluate, you want to be able to negotiate, and you're going to need to decide. You're going to have to make a decision. So that's important as well. That's really important. And then kind of wrap it up, closure. That is so important too, is with any companies that you talk with, if you are in job search mode, think about it. Like, I know ghosting is still going on, and there are still companies that aren't doing a great job of getting back to you regarding your application. You might never hear from them again. Well, that doesn't mean that we do the same. We want to make sure that we close the loop. And by you doing that, you are taking care of your personal and professional brand. You're making a good impression, but you're showing that you are a professional and a professional to be worked with. So, so yeah, it's and it only takes a minute just to send an email. Hey, I did land a role. Please reach out to me if I could be of assistance to you, in the future. And that's a great way to have closure. And everybody needs closure. Closure is important. Now I have this little sign here with some warnings for you. So, and let me kind of elaborate on this. Also too. Okay. So the warning is 2 warnings. You should be aware of the knowing doing gap. And the knowing doing gap is something that I learned about from my coach that I work with, and I've seen it. I think we've all seen it. It's basically when we're like struggling, we know what to do, yet we're not doing it. It's like, why are we struggling with it? What's the difficulty? And it's like, we've got to get underneath it and really understand what's the struggle, what is stopping us from getting to that goal that we want. So just to be aware of that and to ask questions about it, that's key. And then I have done that work with my clients as well, because a lot of times it helps to be working on it with a coach or a friend, someone who can help you, because they have their perspective as well. I think it's tough to really work on it by yourself. And then the second thing is, don't become an information junkie. And I think I've fallen into this as well. So like getting all this information and then not taking action. And we think about it, I loved being in school. I loved being a student. And I think at one point I probably could have gone to get my master's and my PhD, and which is wonderful. Those are great things to do. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we're taking the information that we have, that we get, and we're using it, we're putting it to action. So, because then it means so much more. So I want to encourage you to do that. But there's always a balance too, because sometimes we need that balance of, be, do, have. It's like really be focused. And that's why the reflection piece is so important, to really focus on who do you want to be in your work and in your career. It's really be, do, have, not do, have, and be. So I think sometimes we get it out of order. We're so focused on the doing, and being busy, and sending resumes. But we have to always be rooted in who we are and who we are being. And that's where the inner mentor comes in. So yeah. So that's basically it for our content for today. I just have my little checklist here just to make sure that I did cover that. So tomorrow, we're going to talk about the biggest action step, which is connection. So we'll be focused on that, and I'll have more tools for you with that as well. So, but before we close out, I did want to give you the opportunity. Did you have any questions for me? Was there anything that I could answer for you? And you could even like go off mute if you want to raise your hand if you did have any questions. It doesn't look like it. It looks like you're okay. I see smiles, so that's good.
Just mulling everything over.
Yes, I know. I'm throwing a lot at you. So, all right, excellent. Great. Well, and in this extra time that I'm giving you, I definitely, if you weren't able to do what was in the workbook, go back to that. And then I'll do at the beginning of tomorrow's session, I will do a recap of, just a quick recap of day 2. So, all right. And then of course, if there's any problems with the links in the email, just reply back and let me know that as well. So, because I want to make sure that those links are working for you. So, all right. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And yeah, I'm trying to get back to my Zoom. I have too many windows open. That's the problem. So, all right. Thank you so much. And I will talk with you tomorrow. Bye now.
Thank you, Christine.
Bye.